Hello, Sipsters. Welcome back to an all-new episode of the Sippin' on Stories podcast. I'm Mandy Corey, your host, and I'm so delighted that you're here. For our episode today, we have my sister-in-law, Carissa, with us. My brother has been trying to convince her to come on for quite some time, and he finally convinced her that this was the week to do it. So I'm glad that she's on with us today. It was a story that I'd never heard before, which I found interesting and fun to listen to, even though it gave me anxiety the whole way listening to it. So she talks about a time that she got caught in a mudslide. And I will have pictures available to look at on my Instagram. If you go over there at Sippin' on Stories podcast, I will post those so that you can get a better idea of the visual that she is describing throughout her story. It was pretty crazy. So, all right, here is Carissa for today's story.
I've never been on a podcast, so this will be new.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Many people have not. Are you being anonymous for this or using your name?
You can use my name. That's fine.
Okay. All right, I'm just going to get started.
Okay.
All right, we have my sister-in-law, Carissa, on the podcast today, so happy that she's here. Carissa, I have to ask you the question I ask everybody, which is, what's your favorite drink?
Okay, well, if I were drinking caffeine, it would be Dr. Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not drinking caffeine, which I'm currently not, I am sticking with teas or water. So I've been stuck on like Arizona teas lately, which I know people are going to say they have caffeine, but it's like very little, minimal caffeine.
It's no Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, those are my drinks of choice right now. So
okay. So don't you usually get like a Starbucks too? Like wouldn't you get a Starbucks?
Yeah, I am a Starbucks girly. I currently get the iced pecan oat milk latte in decaf. It's so
iced
good.
Pecan
Oatmeal
latte.
Uh-huh.
Decaf. Okay. Interesting. It's like one of those things that I'm like, how do people come up with their orders? I don't know, but I like to hear what they are.
Yeah, it's just one of their seasonal drinks that they do during fall. It's really good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, Carissa. So I know that this story involves a landslide.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Nothing else? You don't know anything else?
No, unless you start telling it and I'm like, oh no, maybe I have heard this before. But as of right now, it's not ringing a bell.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell me what happened.
So a little backstory. My family, all growing up, we every year went to Yellowstone. And this was just one of our annual trips that we took. So I was around the age of like 9, 10, I would say. We spent all day in Yellowstone. It was coming up on evening. We were driving over Fishing Bridge. I don't know if you've ever been to Yellowstone. It's a pretty...
I've been there, but I don't know where that is.
Most people that like, unless you like know Yellowstone, they're like, I don't know what that is. It's a really like pretty famous bridge where a lot of people like fly fish and stuff like that. So we had just crossed over the bridge and there was like a storm rolling in that we could see. And so we were like driving and we saw like, I don't know, you've always drove through Yellowstone. Like there's a bunch of cars that stop at everything. We saw a bunch of cars off the side of the road and we were like, oh, what is it? So we pulled off and it was a mama bear and her 3 cubs. So we had like stopped to take pictures, to see it. And it had started to rain at that point. And my grandpa at the time was pretty anxious. He was like, let's just go, like, let's get into Cody, Wyoming, which is where we were going to stay the night.
Were you camping?
No, we weren't camping because we didn't have a trailer. I think we were just like going through Yellowstone to get to Cody and stay in Cody.
Okay.
And once we stopped, like it had started raining and he would like kind of push us to get back in the car. So we get back in the car and this is like right at sunset, like dusk time. So it's like not quite dark outside, but not light, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we start going through Cody Pass. I don't know if that's what it's called anymore. It used to be called Cody Pass. I think they've changed the name since.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. So it used to be that when you're driving through Cody Pass, you had the mountain on one side and then a sheer cliff on the other side. And like it was like a drop, like
Mm-hmm.
a hard drop.
I would
Um,
hate that.
yeah,
I hate driving situations like that.
it's funny because I like look back at it now and like realizing I was 9 years old, I just thought it was cool. Like,
Mm-hmm.
driving in the car, riding in the car and you're not the one driving. It was so cool. Now driving
Yeah.
through it, heck no.
No, even
Mm-mm.
as a kid, I was like, why are you so close to the edge of these cliffs? We're going to die. It has always terrified me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I remember we were driving up the mountain, and it was me and my grandparents and my brother in one car, and then my dad, my uncle, my uncle's wife, and my aunt in another car ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
They had driven up a ways, and at the time it had like gone from like sprinkling to like it was like downpour rain, and like there was thunder and lightning. It was a pretty good storm. Um,
I'm feeling anxious. You just telling me this. Like driving in situations like this, I'm like, I'm uncomfortable and I'm not even in a car.
yeah.
Anyway, on the edge of a cliff in a rainstorm.
Yeah.
Sounds terrible.
So I remember like seeing my dad ahead of me. Like also I was a little kid, so you're not like too much paying attention.
Yeah.
And then I remember like we had come to a stop on the road and I was like, what is happening? Like my kid brain didn't like quite understand. And my dad had turned around in his car to go back down the hill or the mountain. It was not a hill. And as he was turning around, I saw the mud go across the road, like completely cutting off our path. There was no way to continue. Like it was a very large amount of mud.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we turned around and started to go back down the hill. But by the time that we had turned around, the mud had gone behind us. So we were stuck between the two flows. Um, and so at that time, my grandpa had turned around and had pulled as close to the mountain as he could, facing my dad's vehicle. So we were like facing each other.
Was your okay? Because your dad had already turned around,
Yeah.
so now your grandpa's turning around.
Hmm. So that we were facing each other. Because like we had both turned around to go back down the hill, but then
Mm-hmm.
the mud had come behind or in front of us. And so my grandpa turned back around so we were facing each other.
Oh, okay.
Um, and so my grandpa
So your
made,
dad's stuck too.
yeah, we're like both
You're okay.
stuck between these flows.
Okay.
Um, my grandpa had made the decision to pull as close to the side of the mountain as he could. I don't know why he made that decision. Being a 9-year old,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is weird. And my dad just followed suit. And I just remember my grandpa thinking or saying, like, oh, we're just going to sit here until the mud flow stops and then we should be able to drive across. Um, and I remember being a 9-year old being like, that's kind of weird. Like, I had never seen anything like that. Like, that's not a common thing. I don't know. Like,
No, I feel like mudslides don't just
they don't just
happen on the
happen.
daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of weird. So I remember, like, thinking, I was like, that's so weird. And I remember, like, sitting in the car. I had the window down, even though it was raining. And I was, like, watching it go behind my grandma's Suburban. And I was like, that's a lot of mud. And it kept getting, like, bigger and bigger. And it was just like, it's not stopping,
Yeah.
like, kind of moment. And so I remember, like, watching the one that was in front of us, and it was doing the same thing. And at that point, I was like, I don't think it's gonna stop. Like as a 9-year old, like you start imagining the worst, you know what I
Oh, of
mean?
course, yeah.
Um, and so I remember sitting there watching it, and my grandparents were having a conversation. I don't like remember fully what the conversation was, but I remember enough of it to realize like it was a pretty serious situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, I don't know how much time had passed. It felt like it was super quick, but super slow all at the same time. Like
Yeah.
how time like goes fast but slow. I don't know how that happens, but um, soon the mud from the top, so like up above where my dad was, because he was up
Mm-hmm.
higher on the mountain, um, started to flow like down the middle of the street. So like it was getting closer to the vehicles, but it
Yeah.
wasn't quite there. Um, and I remember thinking like, gosh, that mud is like flowing close to the car. Well, within, gosh, I would say like 30 minutes, the mud had the two flows had like combined into one big flow, and it was
Mm-hmm.
all just like moving down off the cliff. Um, and it was like steadily like growing higher and higher up the car.
Yeah. Like
And
getting up to the tires type of
yeah,
situation.
yeah, so
Yeah.
like getting up to the tires, and then I remember it was like at the bottom of the like the when you open the door, the door jamb or
Right at the
whatever.
bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then I
Do you remember
remember
if the mud was moving like fast or was it slow?
it was
Or is that a
fast.
hazy detail? Okay.
No, it was fast because I remember like watching it like it looked like a river. Like it was just like flowing like fast.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember sitting there and I was
And what,
sitting,
pause, sorry, was it just you and your dad's car? Or were there other cars in there too? Do
yeah,
you know?
there was one other couple that had a car that got stuck but like with us.
Mm-hmm.
They had decided to park close to the cliff, like right by the
Oh my
cliff's
gosh.
edge. Um, terrifying. I would never
Yes.
make that choice. I don't know.
No. No.
Um,
Okay. Anyway, sorry. Interrupt you.
no, you're good. It's funny because like I know that there was another vehicle, but I like in my 9-year-old brain could not like I don't know. I didn't worry about the other people. It wasn't
No, you're not
yeah.
supposed to. No, you're, yeah, thinking about your own.
Yeah, and like
Anyways.
I just remember like I was sitting so it was a very old like suburban that we were in. And so there's like a middle console and I was sitting in the middle console like between my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my brother was in the car with us and he was asleep. Like slept through the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. And I remember my grandma started to freak out a little bit because the mud was like coming up through the floors and like in the car at that
Oh, it
point.
was?
Yeah. And so, um, of course, like I'm panicking because she's panicking, like it, like
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And I just remember like going from like the center console all the way to the back windows because it had the big back windows.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember going all the way back to the back windows and just like watching it and like just going back and forth, like panicking, like you don't know what to do kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it like got to the point where the mud had come up to like the bottom of the windows in the car, like all the way up to the bottom of the
That's
windows,
insane. Mm-hmm.
and like thinking like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be buried alive. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's there's nothing. Um, and I remember like telling my grandpa like somebody has to come help us, and my grandpa's like, no, they can't. Like there's nothing they can do. Like they
No one
can't.
can drive up here. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember like looking out the back windows and you could see all the rescue lights and like you know like the ambulance and like the what are they called like the search and rescue like they knew people were stuck but
Mm-hmm.
like they couldn't do anything. So I remember like thinking like they have to come help us. They have to come. And like my grandpa was just telling me like they're not coming. Like we just have to wait it out kind of situation. And so we were probably stuck. Gosh, they didn't get to us. It was probably 2 or 3 in the morning when they finally, like, the mud stopped flowing enough
Mm-hmm.
that they would drive up to like, there was people that came down the mountain and people that came up the mountain, so they were on either side of the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like the mud had stopped flowing, but there was still enough mud that it was like 2 inches below the window.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we couldn't open our doors. Like
Yeah.
we're just stuck in the vehicles. And I remember like the search and rescue guys had like flashlights and they were like yelling at us like from the top of the mountain, like, we're trying to get to you, like just stay where you are kind of thing. And I remember thinking like, where
Where
am
are
I
you
gonna
gonna
go?
go?
I don't know what you want me to
All right,
do.
I'll stay here. Yeah.
um and so this part's a little hazy. I don't know, being a 9-year old, sometimes it's not the freshest, but
Mm-hmm.
I remember finally at one point they had put 2x4s on top of the mud, and we had to crawl out our windows and across the 2x4s to get across the mud to the search and rescue people.
How big were these 2x4s?
I
Like,
mean, they were like, I would say just like normal 2x4s that they
yeah, but like,
stacked. So like they were on top of each other, like long
yeah.
wise to like make a
Mm-hmm.
path. And I just remember thinking, like, as a 9-year old crawling on these 2x4s, like, this is crazy. Like, I can't imagine, like, now thinking about my grandparents trying to crawl across two
No
by
kidding.
fours. Like,
Yeah.
that's terrifying. And
Okay,
so
so I'm trying to get like a vision. Do you remember like how they were positioned, like climbing out? Because you would have had to go.
I, I don't remember. I want to say that they were out, like, the driver's side, so closest to the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like they put it along that way for us to climb up the mountain to get out.
Oh, okay.
Um, And so I remember, like, finally we had gotten out and um, we had gotten into a vehicle. I don't know what kind of vehicle it was.
Mm-hmm.
And they, of course, they did like the first aid. They made sure we were all okay. Um, After climbing across the mud, that we had a couple scrapes, but it wasn't anything major.
Yeah. How
Um,
many feet? Like, okay, again, I know this. You're 9 years old, so memory it could be completely different than what you actually remember. But do you remember like how far are these like mud patches? Like, are we talking like 10 feet that you're crawling across mud, or like?
yeah, it was.
Oh wait, you said you went up the mountain.
Yeah, we went up the mountain. So like
Yeah.
we were like here, and I'll send you pictures because there's pictures of it, and it will help
Oh,
you.
there is. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Um, so we crawled up like past my dad's truck and then out onto the top of the mountain. So I would
Okay.
say it's like I mean, at least 3 cars length
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
get out. Um, and then I don't know how the other people got out. All I remember thinking is they were able to actually get out of their car. Like the mud hadn't completely surrounded their car,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird because they were like right next to the cliff. So I was like, I don't know
Yeah, that is
how
weird.
that
Mm-hmm.
that happened. But I remember they had like a little, it was like behind their vehicle into the passenger side was, there was no mud. So they were able to like get out the passenger side and just stand there. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how else they got out other than that.
Yeah.
Um I didn't really, but I remember after they like checked us out, they drove us to Cody, Wyoming. It was either in Cody or like very close to it. I remember like we slept that first night at, it was like a very small cabin, and there
Mm-hmm.
were like 2 cabins that we slept in. Each cabin had 2 beds, and like it was very packed. Like one, we didn't sleep very well because we probably got there at like 6 in the morning. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was a long night. Um, and then I just remember like we were stranded. Like both of our vehicles are stuck in the
Yeah.
mud.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, how are you supposed to get your cars back?
Yeah, yeah. Like one, we're what, 3 hours from home at least.
Mm-hmm.
and our cars and our way home are stuck in the mud, probably totaled because of how much mud is, surrounded the vehicle and stuff. And so I just remember thinking as a kid, like, we can't go anywhere. What do you mean? I just want to go home, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like all of our stuff was in the cars.
Of
Like we
course,
didn't
yeah.
grab anything on our way out. Like you're not thinking. And so I remember we stayed at that cabin, and then we I don't know how long we stayed at the cabin, but I do know that um at some point we had like put out, like it had gone into the news, and
Mm-hmm.
like they were the news had picked it up, and like the Red Cross has picked it up. Like it was a pretty big story.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like as a 9-year-old thinking like, gosh, I'm on the news, like this is pretty
That's
cool.
cool.
Like this is cool. And like doing like a news article and stuff like that. um and then I don't really, there's not, it's a little hazy for the next little bit.
Yeah.
um and then I remember after we were stuck for a while, we had no place to go, and they weren't like getting our vehicles out, and um we couldn't stay at the cabins. I don't know why, like maybe they had reservations or something, I don't know. But I remember that there was this really nice lady in Cody who offered her house to us. And
That's
like,
nice.
yeah, and like I don't know if it was like a second home situation because she wasn't there,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember like she had offered her home, like paid for our food, like just like completely took us in for a good long while. Like it had to be at least like a week.
Mm-hmm.
And like I just remember thinking as a 9-year-old, like, whoa, this is so cool. Like somebody like really did that for us. Now
Mm-hmm.
looking at it as an adult, I'm like, I wish I knew who that person was so I could thank them, because that was not like an easy feat. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're like, would I be that kind of a person if,
Yeah,
if that happened to
exactly.
somebody? Would
Exactly.
I
Like,
do that? I hope
huh.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't I don't remember really anything after that. It was, I don't know, like most of the stuff after that was adult situations that I was not privy to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of
I do
course.
remember at one point they did get the vehicles out, and we were able to go see them. Um, and my dad's vehicle actually got completely totaled, like
Mm-hmm.
was not drivable. It was totaled. My grandparents' Suburban somehow magically survived.
Interesting.
Um, and it, we drove it home, like
Filled with mud.
filled with mud, yes. um, but yeah, and like now looking back at like the images, and like you can find the articles of it, is it's pretty like sombering. Like the way I see it in my head is much different than the images, and I think it's
Of
just
course.
like, you know, everything is bigger to a 9-year-old than it is to like a 30-year-old. So
Yeah, it is.
um but yeah, I remember afterwards like being at home, and like I remember how big of a story it was, and everybody wanted to know, and like my whole class at school was like, "Oh my gosh." And like I'm just
Mm-hmm.
sitting there like, "Eh, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm home." Like,
Everything worked
yeah,
out.
it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that's my,
That's really interesting. I'm sitting here being like, that's crazy that I've never heard that story before.
yeah, yeah. Hadley, he like, he begged me. He's like, "You have to tell the story." And I was like, "Okay." And I
Fine.
was like, "Okay, I'll do it."
What better place to tell me than here,
I know.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hadley like tells me, he's like, "That's such a good story, and I would tell everybody." And I'm just like, I don't know. It's just like something that happened, and I
Yeah.
don't
When it's your
really.
own life, it doesn't feel as like big. Like obviously you're here. You made it
Yeah.
through that situation. Everyone in your family's here. You lost a car. But
Yep.
like everything else was fine, you know.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, even though it's really weird, you still don't even realize how like interesting something that's happening to you actually is until way later you're like, huh, like, yeah, thinking of me as like, a guardian of children in
Yeah.
that situation, I'm like, I would have been full on like panicking, not knowing what to do. When as a kid, you're just like, never done this before.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, well, this is new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
It,
Or it's
it,
just like a vacation. You're staying at someone's house and you're like, that was fun.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly like the rest of the trip. I just felt like it was a vacation, even though we were
hmm
stranded there for a good while. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It was just was what it was. I don't know.
Well, I'm excited to see the pictures. So
Yes, I'll have to send them to you.
I'm glad you came on. It's been a long time coming, I feel like.
Yes, yes.
So,
Sorry it was such a short and sweet story.
oh, no, it was not. It was good. Thank you for coming on, Carissa.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you soon.
Yes, bye.
Okay. Bye bye. Like I said, that story gave me anxiety. When I saw the pictures, I was happy to see that it wasn't like a straight edge cliff, but it still would have caused me, I'm sure, anxiety. My husband knows that if we are driving in a somewhat stressful situation, I just sit there and hold on to the side of the door and just clench my jaw and just pray until we get out of it. I don't like driving in stressful situations, so this would have not been fun for me, and I probably would stress any time that we were coming up towards like any dirt mountain in the rain, whatever. So I didn't like it, but I didn't experience it, so I was glad to have that story from Carissa. All right, you guys, I don't really have a lot to update you on as far as what is going on in my life, so I'm just going to end the episode here. If you would like to come on the podcast, as I say every week, reach out to me, submit a story through my Instagram, through my email, sippinonstoriespodcast@gmail.com, or Sippin' on Stories Podcast on Instagram. I can get back to you there. I'll be here again next week for another episode of the Sippin' on Stories podcast. Bye, Sipsters.